let's talk about the co-main event, the
Cool.
RDA. Moicano steps in on days' notice. They take that catch weight. I was, when that stuff was going on, I was thinking in my mind, man, if Dan was in Vegas, I bet you Dan would be fighting RDA right now this week. Would you have took the fight if you were in Vegas? You would have, right?
Of course I would have. Of course.
What do
What
you
a
think of
silly
Islam, like,
question.
kind of talking shit online and then, like, because it seemed like he did take, like, accept the fight and then he pulled out last second. That was kind of a weird situation right there too.
Yeah, that was weird. You could have just said nothing and you would have been better off. When I first saw the tweet, I didn't think he was serious.
Mhm.
And then he got his bluff called but like not knocking it or not
Mhm.
like I don't mean offense by it, but like those guys don't take
You said it
short
last
notice
week.
fight.
Yeah.
Those guys don't take short notice fights unless it's like their camp. It's like an RDA
Mhm.
situation. Like he's
Mhm.
done a camp and there's like a late replacement for the other guy. Like that's the only short notice fights that those guys take. They don't just like jump out of bed and just be like, "Yep, I'll fight him." It's not
But
what they do.
Moicano did.
It's why their records are nice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. His
why they have nice.
cousin.
It's why they have nice looking records because
Yeah.
they don't like they'll like minimize risk.
Moicano, he didn't minimize anything. He flew. He got on a plane. He was in Brazil, I believe, at the time. He got on a plane, flew to Vegas a couple days, and he's fighting RDA at 160 in a 5-round fight, and he took a beating. But man, in that fifth round, he was coming back. Like they almost finished or they almost stopped the fight a couple times, right? I believe what was that, third round or second round where RDA dropped him with the head kick, and then that's when like he went in for the finish, and then Moicano survived, and then yeah, after the fourth round, his face was just mangled, looked like he got on like a head-on collision with somebody, and the doctor was like, he tried to shift it onto the ref. Did you see that little conversation in the cage?
Both of them though, they're unlike watching the fight and Joe Rogan's kicking up a fuss and they're kicking up a fuss like, oh man, this needs to be stopped. This needs to be stopped. Oh, it's up to this guy. It's up to this guy. Or the corner will take a good look at him. Or the referee and the doctor will take it. Like, look at our sport. We don't get fights stopped. How often do you see a corner throw in a towel? You know what I mean? How often do you see a doctor grow some balls and be like, nah, well, I've seen enough? How often do you even like a referee just be like, nah, like this guy's had it's not. I'm watching that fight. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. I don't think any one of those because it's not how our sport is constructed at the moment. It will one day. One day, like the tide will turn. It's kind of like I would say it's kind of like precedents in court cases.
Mhm.
Once like one precedent is set in a court case, then everyone else can kind of use that. But we don't have a precedent, right? Like unless a guy's like, well, even if a guy's on one leg, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like there's been Sean O'Malley limping, literally just like falling on his back and lying there, like getting the guy to attack him. That's still not stopped. The doctor never
Mhm.
stopped it. The corner never stopped it. The referee never stopped it. There's countless situations like that. No precedent has been set in our sport for stopping fights. It's not like boxing. Um, they don't tend to. Well, boxing's like a different setup because, like I was talking about last week, guys get paid for their health. Their health, like it's a bit more mismatched. So once, and there's like far less avenues to win. Just
Mhm.
with the hands, you can see one guy's getting like thoroughly outclassed. If a guy's getting thoroughly outclassed in boxing, the referee will generally just wave it off, or the corner
Yeah.
will wave it off. That is far more common in boxing, but you need to understand that boxing has been around a lot longer than MMA, and we've seen what's happened to older boxers, and we've
Mhm.
seen that it does shorten their careers, and we've seen that it does give these guys long-term ill health effects. So that's why the precedent has been set in boxing. So when a referee does wave off a fight, there's no big up in arms and throw the toys out of the cot and have like a big cry about it. But in our sport at the moment, it it's not happening.
Yeah. It doesn't
It
seem
should.
like it. Yeah, it
It
should.
should. I like me as a fighter. I feel like it should because me as a fighter, I'm never stopping it. You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
like they keep they'll keep turning to the fighter. The referee asks the fighter, "Oh, do you want to
Mhm.
on camera, countless million people watching the fight, all your friends and family watching the fight?" The referee goes on camera with a microphone. Do you want to keep fighting? Or do you want to be a little bitch? Like that's pretty much what he's saying, right? Doctor going like, follow my finger. Like, it's just precedent's not set. It's not happening. It should. It will at some stage, but not not yet. Our sport is still too young.
Yeah, the last time I remember even seeing a towel being thrown was years ago in the UFC. Maybe recently there was one, but from a famous fighter, like a high level fight, like a big fight would be when Nate Diaz fought Josh Thompson. Remember when Josh Thompson head kicked Nate Diaz? His corner threw in the towel. I think his brother Nick Diaz threw in the towel in that fight.
I think he
Um,
was already knocked. I think he was already knocked out.
he was, but then the towel came in, right? So it didn't. They didn't want him to
Yeah, I
take
think
any more
like I
damage.
feel like the body collapsed, and then
Mhm.
like the limp body, and then the towel like flew
Yeah, the
over.
towel came in, but
So it's a
they
bit
threw
like
in the towel, right?
it's a little bit late. Yeah, but that's just
Yeah,
more like that's more symbolism than
yeah, yeah. You can, yeah.
like
I
an
guess you can.
actual like effective stoppage of a fight.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't effective. Yeah,
Well,
he was
like
already knocked out.
MMA is also different in that there are so many more avenues to win the fight. It's like
Mm.
yeah, like you can be getting just beaten to death on the ground like or you would never have stopped like the Bryce Mitchell Barboza fight was very one sided. What's the one? Brunson's corner
Brunson.
threw
Yeah,
in the towel right on the
that was
finish.
right.
Yeah, but as the guy's finished. It's
Yeah, he
already
was.
like
You're right.
it's all she wrote. Like the guy's already knocked out. Of course, it's gonna referee's running over. You're just like throwing the towel in as like a symbol.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a fight changing
Is that a symbol of like
pro.
I care? Even though it's already over, it's
Yeah,
like you throw
yeah,
it in there like
yeah.
I
It's
care.
like I still care about you. It's just like yeah, it's symbolism. It's not. You're not actually stepping in and just being like, nah, 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 nah. Me
Yeah.
as a me as a coach, like I've done it. I've done it. But me as a coach, like I never even put guys in. If they're getting outclassed, if it's just a mismatch, like because you do get that early on in guys' careers, or early on in when it's like under that 5 fight mark before you have like 5 fights, because it's very hard to know what a guy's really made of, or it's very
Mhm.
hard to compare. Like, oh, I got a guy with 1 fight. Oh, I got a guy with no fights. Like, and they show up and one's an absolute weapon, and then the other like been training for 8 years. Other guy walked in the gym 6 months ago. It's hard to gauge, right? So
Yeah.
I've been in positions like that as a coach. My guy's getting outclassed, and you're just like, nah, like I've seen enough.
Mhm.
This is a mismatch. I don't need him in his first fight, second fight, third fight, fourth fight, fifth fight. I don't need my fighter to go out there and show me how tough he is. I don't need that. I've seen in the gym that the guy's tough. I've seen in the gym that the guy's committed. I've seen in the gym that the guy wants to be there, but he doesn't need that in his first 5 fights just to show me how deep he can dig. That can come later. That can come when it's a good even fight that gets difficult. That's when a fighter truly gets to showcase like what they're made of. That's like what it's about, not a mismatch. Like Jorge was saying, sometimes you just have an off night. It could be a
Mhm.
evenly matched fight. Sometimes you get out there and you just have a bad day at work. And in our sport, that's what a bad day at work. And some other people, you know what I mean? Like other people, bad day at work, your printer runs out of ink, or you a plumber and you crack a pipe you shouldn't have cracked, or
Mhm.
you lose your drill. You know what I mean? In our sport, you have a bad day at work, you show up, you get knocked out, you get beaten up for 25 minutes, you get choked unconscious. A bad day at work just looks very different in our line of work.
That's without a doubt, man. And yeah, I think you're right. We do need to start, you know, I guess approaching it differently. The referees, the doctors. I think the doctors, they need to kind of reassess, you know, how they like evaluate the fighter in the cage a little bit better. And maybe, you know, if a doctor stops a fight, like you can't question that. He's a fucking doctor, right? Like he
Mm,
knows what he's fucking
mm,
looking at. He
mm.
knows what kind of damage you have taken or might get, you know, might add on to, you know what I mean? Like your face, you know, like
But
you might not even look the same.
how many times have we seen this? Because I remember having seen it. Like, guy's eyes all fucked up. He can't see. It's like closed. It's like blood in his eye, and the doctor or the referee are like, over here, close on eyes. How many fingers am I holding up? And the guy's like, three. And they're like, yeah, he's all right. Like, it's not even the guy didn't even. The guy didn't even pass the test, right? And they just let the fight. I think Herb's done that once. So the guy didn't even pass the test, and he was just like, "Oh, well, keep it going like this." Should we? How hard is that as a doctor? You know what I mean? How hard is it to an an actual test that you need to pass before the round continues? Like, how hard is it for a doctor to like close the eye and then like hold something up and just be like, "Tell me how many dots you see," and you go, and if you can't answer it, then the fight is off. Like that, is that like a ridiculous thing to say, or a doctor to just be like, take 5 step, walk in a straight line, stand on one leg, and you just stand there like, whoa, because you're still concussed? Is it the doctor got enough balls to be like, yo, fight off? That guy, I've seen enough. This
Exactly.
guy's not. This guy can't walk in a straight line. He obviously can't fight.
If a cop can pull you over and put you through tests to figure out if you're really drunk, I'm thinking the doctor can come into the cage and have
It's
a
got to be
couple
quick
tests.
though. It's got to be
Yeah,
quick though.
it's gotta be
Hey,
quick because they're like, Step forward, step back." I think they did it to Ortega. Remember in the Volk fight?
yeah, yeah, they go. That's the one I was. That's one I was thinking of. Yeah, the cat said the Ortega said the wrong number.
Yeah.
They said, "How many fingers am I holding up? How many fingers am I holding up? Ah, four. Yeah, all right, close enough. You know what I mean? Like, no, I was wrong. But then, like, checking, there's like two sides to the coin, right? Then Ortega got like an extra 40 seconds,
Mhm.
so he was like badly injured, like heavily damaged in at that point of the fight. You get your minutes rest between the round, and by the time the doctor was done, it's like another 50 seconds or something like that. Like the guy already had damn near twice as much time to recover.
Yeah, and you know what you were saying earlier about RDA. It seems like he's calling for a summer fight with McGregor, and yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind seeing it because Oliveira's gonna fight. Um, what's his name?
That's what I
Gaethje.
said. That's
Yeah,
what I said.
I don't know. Maybe the tinfoil hat is, you know, the
That's
symbolic
what I
tinfoil hat.
said.
You
Whoop.
know, the symbolic tinfoil hat is working out for you. Yeah, it's Moicano, man. He's a dog, man. Like the dude just he was pissed after the fight, just probably just pissed at himself. You know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, like you said, he will never say that he's not gonna fight the next round. That's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Nah,
Especially a guy like that. You know what I mean? It happens in the sport, but very rarely because you guys have gone through so much suffering to become an elite athlete that that fight is probably not that much. You know, you've worked so hard that that fight, taking that damage, it doesn't
what's it
feel
like?
like
It's just absolutely inside of you. It just
yeah.
becomes like you work so hard in the gym, you've sacrificed so much to be in there. It just becomes like who you are. Like you're not going to get put in that situation and then turn tail and run, or quit in front of the entire world. That's just not who it is. It can't. But it can't. That's what I'm saying. It can't be on the fighter. You need to have people willing to step up and take that from the fighter.
Thank you guys for watching the video to the end. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we're putting out. We got a lot of things in the works, so please stay tuned.